pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I get more good news though. If the kid's not here, I get to talk.
This meeting is being televised by Chelmsford Telemedia. Is there anyone else present that plans to record? Seeing none. First item of business tonight is approval of the minutes from our last meeting on November 6th. So assuming everybody had time to look them over, I'll entertain a motion.
I move the approval of the minutes of the regular school committee meeting of November 6th.
Second.
Okay, any corrections, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
One abstention. Do we have to record or?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we are recording live,
Okay.
but the recording secretary is not going to be here tonight.
Yeah.
She's going to take the minutes remotely
Okay.
and then email them to us for our next meeting.
Great. All right, so, I guess no Chelmsford rep tonight?
I know, but that means I get more good news.
I was gonna
'cause
say,
I
so the
can
next
steal
thing up
their
is good
thunder.
news. Yeah.
Right. I like to steal their thunder. So typically, the high school kids get all the really great, awesome things, and then I'm trying to find all the other stuff at the other schools, and we work together, but they're not here. So two things to note, obviously, at Chelmsford High School, well, actually, several. I mean, it's Spirit Week, it's Thanksgiving week, so everybody's super excited. Good luck to the high school teachers in containing them tomorrow. But the play Fiddle on the Roof was outstanding. I mean, I can't even say enough. I saw it on Thursday night, and I actually had one of the understudies who I didn't even realize was not even the understudy for the lead, and I just couldn't get over the way that these kids, it was flawless. You wouldn't have known that had nobody told me. So that was great at the high school. Also, we were fortunate enough, there was a ribbon cutting ceremony this week we changed the Jack Fletcher weight room to the Jack Fletcher fitness room, and the kids did a nice job. They did a lot of demonstrations. Boy, they were agile. I don't think I could have done half the things they were doing in there, but they were so good about it. People were super excited. I know that, Jack really, he appreciated being contacted, being part of it, and, it's a special place for him in Chelmsford, and he said that in his speech, so that was really, exciting. Oops. I'm echoing, okay. So the other good news is during the week, we have 66th grade art students that are participating in the International Lions Club Peace Poster Competition. And this theme was Kindness Matters. So the kids are putting together all of their different pieces to talk about their values, express themselves, and how they're part of a community. And right now we have a congratulations to Kelly Mazzone, who's the art teacher at Parker, for her student Mohammed Al-Tawadi, because he was chosen as the first place winner. So very exciting for that. And then this is future news, it's good news now, but then I'll be able to report on it for the next school committee meeting, is that right now they're in the preliminary rounds of the Geography Bee. And once they get those winners from the two schools, they do the combined McCarthy-Parker contest, and we'll have the winner of that. They will be moving forward to the States on December 4th. And other than that, happy Thanksgiving.
Anybody else, good news?
I would just add, because we got the information on 28 kids made senior districts in the various music areas, and 13 are going on to All-State. That's pretty good. I think that's
Very good.
Yeah.
Great.
Great, thank you.
All right. So next, we're up to our public comment section. So if anyone would like to speak to the committee about any of the items on tonight's agenda, please come forward and state your name.
You're all here for the presentation.
Yeah, they're all here to present.
Just gonna say. All right, so moving on to new business. First up, we have a spotlight on the English department.
We do. Actually, I'd like to invite up Abby Dick, who is our new curriculum coordinator for English. Come on up, 5 to 12, and a few high school teachers here with her as well. I'm not sure. I'll let you do the introductions. But we're continuing with our monthly theme of having one of our different curriculum departments come up and present on some of the workings that are happening in their particular departments. It's a nice opportunity to be able to spotlight some of the work that's going on, and I know you've got some high school teachers with you here today and a student that I know. So I'll turn it over to you.
Absolutely. So thank you, everybody. My name is Abby Dick. I'm the new English department coordinator for the district. I moved to Chelmsford in June. I started this job in July, so it's been a great few months. I've spent a lot of time getting into classrooms and getting to know the teachers and talking to the students, so it's been great. So thank you for inviting us here tonight. If you go to our next slide,
Yeah, you're a human clicker.
Sorry, you just give me the nod.
Yeah, he's a
I'll
human
take care of
clicker.
it.
Oh, okay. This is just an overview of the English faculty that we have. So I work at Chelmsford High School in Parker and McCarthy. We have 16 English teachers at the high school teaching a variety of courses and grades. And then at Parker and McCarthy, we have 12 teachers and 13 teachers. The teachers in grades 5 and 6 teach both English and social studies. So I work with Stephanie Quinn, who's the social studies coordinator, to plan the PD and work with those particular teachers. So what I've been up to this fall, which I've been spending a lot of work on, is 2 rounds of data meetings with the grades 5 through 8 English teachers. So the first round of data meetings was in September, and it was more of a backward-looking meeting. So how did our students perform on the MCAS last year? So that was a great meeting to get to know people and look at our student achievement. The second round of data meetings in October were more of a forward look, and those meetings included the special education department, ESL teachers, and reading teachers. And there we were looking at not just MCAS scores, but iReady data from the testing that we've been doing with our new program, iReady. So the next round of data meetings will be in January, where we'll look at the data from the second round of testing and talk about how students did. I also met with the grades 9 and 10 teachers to review the MCAS data from this past administration, but we haven't spent too much time on that because the MCAS is changing from the legacy test to the new test, so we're looking more forward in that direction. The professional development focus this year for grades 5 through 8 initially has been about 2 online suites of assessments and activities for students. I'm sure you've heard about them. Both of them were pilots last year, but this year they're more widespread through all the teachers. iReady is a program that provides assessments so we can see if students are reading on grade level or not, and what lexile they're reading and what they might like to read. It also provides individualized lessons for students in between the assessments, so teachers have really been digging into learning more about that program. IXL is kind of similar. Teachers can go on and look at individual Massachusetts standards and give students activities aligned to those standards. Students go on, they try different tasks. If they do well, congratulations. If they don't, it gives them some feedback on how to perform better next time. So we spent a lot of time working on both of those things. My particular goal this year as a new person to the district is to really do a deep dive into our curriculum documents and get to know our common curriculum and what we have and what we still need. Talking to teachers and finding out more about our program here. This is a really great time to do this because at the high school, the MCAS is switching from the old test to the new. The middle school teachers have been working on that for the past 2 years, so they're really the experts on how that's going. Plus, the English language arts standards changed in 2017, so there's still a lot of exploring that we need to do with those standards and what their implications are. So program review is really what I'm working on this year. Grades 9 through 10 are focused on learning more about the next generation MCAS. This is a new test that will happen for the first time. The timing of the test is different, the terminology for achievement is different. The questions are new, the tasks are different. So there's a lot of both technical, because it's on the computer, and adaptive change we're gonna have to do to learn more about it. And one thing that we've been working on this year is a collaboration with the Chelmsford Public Library. They won a grant called REACT, which stands for Read, Engage, and Come Together. And the purpose of this grant is to explore issues of education and social justice and environmentalism. It's a really cool program. And so the book that they've chosen for people to read is called Counting Descent, and it's a book of poetry, which sounds kind of intimidating, but it's a very modern and engaging piece of work. So on January 28th, the poet who wrote the book is going to come to Chelmsford High School and work with students. So we're really excited about that, and I've really enjoyed working with them over there and getting to know what they can do with us. So at this time, I'm going to transition to two Chelmsford High School English teachers, Matthew Bartos and Ian Van Blarcom, and Carlos Bejar Garcia, who is a student, and they're going to talk about a couple programs that they have been working on.
Great, thank you. Last spring, Mr. Bartos and I were lucky enough to be approached by Carlos and another student, Smriti Eswar, to see if there was interest in establishing a National English Honor Society chapter at Chelmsford High School, which is a division essentially of Sigma Tau Delta, which is the International English Honor Society. I think they have over 900 chapters in various universities. And we were obviously thrilled to entertain the idea, and we went through the various rigmarole necessary in order to obtain appropriations and approval for the establishment of this chapter. We have identified through our work with guidance and administration, I think we had 91 students who qualified based on their overall English GPA of this year's senior class, and we are going to induct 66 members next Tuesday evening. You're welcome to attend in the Learning Commons at the high school if you wish. The thing that is most attractive about having the National English Honor Society is giving an opportunity for students who are inclined to study the English language arts, a society, an association of like-minded people who appreciate the study of humanities and what literature and the English arts have to offer. And in this day of increasing popularity with the STEM focus, it's nice to have kind of a reminder of how important the humanities are. Art, literature, music, etc. The motto for the National English Honor Society is, I'm going to try and pronounce this right, I'm sure it sounds much better with an old English accent, Gelast Seal Mid R, which is duty goes with honor, which is a tremendous grouping of words, and duty comes before honor, which is also kind of unique. But through the organization, there is an offering of service to peers, school, community. There is an availability for scholarships. There's recognition for students and for school districts nationally, and just the ability to network internationally and nationally with like-minded individuals. Having said that, I'm going to turn it over to Carlos for anything that he would like to add.
Yeah, so as part of the society, we're really going to focus on anything which is related to literacy, language, and media studies. And the ways which we're going to do this is, like Mr. VB said, through networking and also through service. Because one of the important things about being honored is that you have to have a responsibility to turn being honored into using one's abilities to shape a better world, to help others, and to turn this into honoring a future rich with possibilities and a world laden with potential. So we're going to do all sorts of community events. Like we're going to have reading buddies with some of the elementary middle schools. We're going to help out with the library's book drive. We're going to do all kinds of other things like reading with the senior centers to give back to the community in a humanities and English-centered way.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ian, what was the time again for the induction next week?
6 o'clock.
6
at
in the
Learning
Learning
Commons
Commons?
next Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
It's probably run about an hour and a half.
So next.
There we go.
Okay, so I'm Matt Bartos, and I teach AP Seminar as part of the AP Capstone program. So AP Capstone is a brand new endeavor brought about by the College Board. It's less than 5 years old, and it has a 2-year component, AP Seminar that juniors would take, and then AP Research that seniors would take. We were fortunate enough that Chelmsford jumped on this initiative early on. We're one of only about 4 dozen schools in the state, and there's probably only about 1,500 schools nationwide that offer this. So it really is cutting edge, and we're proud to be the leaders in this effort. We have such a rich and diverse grouping of AP offerings at the high school, but this adds to it in a new way because this is really a skills-based course. The AP seminar curriculum focuses on research, writing, and presentation skills. And those research, writing, and presentation skills have to take shape in two ways, individual and group. The students have to understand that they do have to forge their own paths with some of the performance tasks that are offered, and then they also have to work collaboratively, and those two things really matter. Not to get too bogged down in the minutia, but there's actually through course performance tasks that start actually the week before we go on break in December, and so then the students are really on for their performance score. And then the same is going to be true for them doing their work in the AP Research course, which you're going to hear about next month with Stephanie Quinn. But what's great about it is that the students have already realized great success. Their scores last year trumped the national average leaps and bounds. It was amazing. Carlos was one of the forerunners of that. He really helped spearhead it. The 12 students that were in the class last year really set an amazingly high bar, and they're continuing on with their skills in research. I'm going to turn it over to Carlos just briefly to mention, a couple of skills that he took away from last year.
So part of the AP seminar curriculum involves the QUEST framework, which it's been a while, so I might get it a little bit wrong, but it's question and explore, understand, question, understand, explain
And evaluate.
explain and evaluate, synthesize, and team and transmit. So for me, the most important one of these, which I learned from AP Seminar, which I'm using in AP Research and in basically everything else now related to research, is the synthesize. Because really what AP Seminar stresses is incorporating a whole bunch of multiple different perspectives into one cohesive argument. So typically in other classes, like you'll analyze one source really in depth and you'll get into all the nitty-gritty of this source, but you really won't compare it too much against other things. But with AP Seminar, you are required to incorporate all of these different things which support your argument, things which don't support your argument. And then once you find all of this research, you're able to combine it into what you want to convey. And you're able to take all of this existing information and create your own new argument based off of this, which I think is one of the most important things which I learned in AP Seminar.
How many years have you been offering this program?
This is only the second year.
Okay.
So we started with the AP Research course, the AP Seminar course last year. So we're now in the second year of AP Seminar, but only the first year of AP Research. And then next year, the program will be technically fully up and running.
Right.
The goal is right now, I've received training in both courses, and then Kim Scholz from the History Department has received training in Research. She's going to also receive training in Seminar, and so the two of us are going to be able to collaborate back and forth on it.
Okay.
So.
What kind of areas are they, in the research part, what kind of areas are they starting to look into working with?
There is a wide variety of things. So there's some kids who they're looking at memory and how it's affected by I don't know it too well, so you should ask him. But it's
It's affected by something.
The emotional stimuli of images and how it affects memories. There's other kids who are looking into students' perceptions of gender based on outside influences. There's students who are looking at how placement in the classroom, like where they sit towards the front of the room or the back of the room, affects them. And there's other students who are looking into more sciencey things, like how to make drones more efficient than they currently are. So there's a wide variety of things.
So they have that choice to go into whatever fields they want to.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I'm going to let Kim, really take the spotlight on this one, but in short terms, the work that they're going to end up producing by the end of this year is going to be equivalent to graduate level research. So, yeah, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see this because I know that now colleges, a lot of them are requiring a capstone in the senior year as a graduation requirement. I know that both of my kids have to do a capstone in college. I had to do one as part of class, so it's nice to see that we're introducing this in high school so that it is a process that is familiar to the kids by the time they get to college.
Yeah, and the Common App now has a box for the guidance counselors to check off, noting that the student is an AP capstone candidate. And while schools are still catching up to it on the what do we do with this at the placement level. You know, for example, if you have your AP US History course and you get a 4 or 5, you get your credit. But they don't really have a formalized process for that yet, but they're finding that the students are producing such great work that maybe they can skip that Writing 101 course and now get fast-tracked with a professor and start developing their research even quicker. So I think the intangibles far outweigh anything else.
Absolutely.
Great. Any other questions?
Before Mr. Bartos leaves, I just want to recognize, you're a celebrity that no one knows. Mr. Bartos has spoken the name of every Chelmsford High School graduate for how many years?
I think I started in 02 or 01. So
He pronounces every student who goes up to get a diploma. How many people can say that?
Just
Gets
glad
them
you
all
love
do it.
doing it.
Oh, my goodness.
All right.
Can't do it.
His son's at the high school, which I can't believe.
I know.
Yeah.
It is freaky.
Right, any other questions? Okay, well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great work.
Yep,
Thank you
no,
very
thank
much.
you.
Thank you, Matt and Ian, and Carlos. All right, I'm going to switch presentations, and the next individual we're going to invite up is Nancy Antolini with our food service program. And as you recall, we had several enhancements. I don't want to take the whole presentation away from Nancy, but we had several enhancements to our program this past school year. A lot of work went into it over the course of the summer, upgrading our facilities, getting them all ready to roll. And Nancy and her staff have really done a phenomenal job in the buildings. Everywhere you go, people are very impressed and happy with the changes that have taken place. And we asked Nancy to come in tonight.
No
and-
ice cream.
There's no ice cream, no. And
John's eyeing up the sandwich, I like to know.
update us on some of the revisions that you've made to the program. So welcome, Nancy, and I'll help you with your slides, just advancing them when you give me the nod.
Thank you for asking me to come in again tonight. I'm thrilled to be here. And we had a successful year last year, so far this year it seems a little bit, we're growing, and so far a lot of success we're seeing, so we're really pleased with that. So this year, for September, our lunches increased. We have 23,000 lunches that we sold in 2017 in the month of September, and this year we've sold 28,000 lunches. So it was like 22% increase over the course of the few days, one day extra, but still there was an increase. We're seeing that mostly at the elementary levels, I'll be honest with you. We're staying kind of steady at the secondary levels, but we have definitely increased our participation in our elementary levels. So we have a lot of people out there doing a lot of work, a lot of driving, and they're enjoying it. We really have a lot of great people working with us right now. So in October, then, we're still seeing the increase, which is great. We have a 27,527 in 2017, and this year we're up to 34,776. So that was kind of a thrilling increase.
And you attribute it
see
to the quality of the food, the choices, what do you think is?
Well, the choices for what the principals, because the principals are very involved, and really they come out and have a lot. We meet quite a bit, especially a couple of the schools, I meet them quite a bit. So they're saying it's the quality, but we're offering, so this is samples of what we're offering. This is the Power Pack, really popular in the elementary
very
levels
popular in
and
the
secondary
elementaries,
levels. So we produce we try to produce like 200 on Mondays, again on Wednesday it's 200, and sometimes like today, I had to run back and get some more and bring them over to schools because that's how much they go. Then they also have the choice of this elementary level is a ham and cheese sandwich. And again, this all goes with everything else, with fruits and vegetables and everything, so this is just their main pot. And with this, they could also grab some more fruits and vegetables. And this I just wanted to bring to you is like with our deli bar, because there was some question on why did we eliminate the deli bar, which we didn't. We just pre-make a lot of the sandwiches because of labor costs and because of, the lines have to move a lot quicker. So that's an example of a sandwich that we serve. And again, it goes with a bag of chips, and they can still choose. And this is a salad that we either serve to, this is at the high school level. And we serve this, our teachers can purchase this, and it has a protein and it has different vegetables in it. That was just a basic one. We ran out of produce today. Because, you know, the holidays come and we kind of cut back on our ordering. We don't like it to sit there for days and then serve poor products. So, so that's what we did so far in October, and we're looking at the numbers in November, and we're still steady increase. Breakfast in September, in 2017 was 1,092. That was with Harrington and the high school. The total breakfast served this year, was just Harrington, because we didn't roll out any new ones at that time in September, was 1,575, so there was the increase there. Starting though now, November 5th, we started to roll out our first other elementary school, which is South Row. And here I say that we're serving 70 breakfasts sold per day, but actually, we've already increased that, so we're up to between 80 and 90 at South Row, which is surprising. I didn't think we'd see that kind of, but we are. So we're really happy with that. Now we'll continue to roll out the breakfast. Next, I hope to see Center roll out, and then after Center, we'll do Byam, and then go into the middle schools.
Now, how does the breakfast program work?
So, at South Row, it's a little bit different. When I did set up at South Row, and I worked closely with Molly, that the parents, we sent home the letter, and the parents actually choose what day of the week they want their children to eat. So, and then I go into the system and I put it in, so we cross out, if parents can opt to be completely no breakfast served to them at all, 5 days a week, 3 days a week. So actually, every morning, we have staff and myself, we go in and we go by chart, and it shows, you know, how many can have it on Mondays, how many can have it on Tuesdays, and it's kind of steady throughout the year. I think one situation that I do need to look at next year, too, is that I don't think people realize that if your child's eligible for lunches, that they're eligible also for breakfast, because I get that question a lot, and I say, of course, they're eligible. So we're not seeing this with the children that are just eligible. We're seeing this, so we can't say it's only that. We're seeing full, all around, across the board.
Do you allow students who haven't signed up to make a purchase on the day? I forgot to eat breakfast, we didn't have time.
We do have extras, but that runs into some difficulty sometimes, because then when the parents see it on their, that we've charged them for a breakfast, they'll call up, and I'll always have a conversation with the parent. But, you know, if they'll say, well, I didn't say they could have a breakfast, so we don't want that argument. So we try to stay really where we're at, but we always do have extras in the building. We leave 4 or 5 into the kitchen, the cafeteria, too, so if there is anything that they need. So far, we've always brought back more breakfast than, you know, so we have enough there. We don't refuse anybody anything,
Yeah.
but it's not like the lunch program that is
Nancy, a question for
mandatory.
you. So a parent can pick 5 days a week, 1 day a week, 2 days a week. For the breakfast menu, you're keeping a pretty consistent menu day to day,
Yes.
correct? So if my child likes the particular Tuesday offering, then I know on Tuesdays they're going to get breakfast. That doesn't move around much, correct?
No, not for this year. Hopefully next year.
No, which I think is good for parents to be able to figure out which days their kids might like the meal and give it a
So
try.
even on Friday, on our our delayed start, I couldn't use those breakfasts on Monday because they know on Friday it was
Right.
muffin, say, or bagel, so they can't.
I was
use
going to
it.
ask you, what kind of foods they offer?
It's just basic muffin, bagel, cinnamon toast crunch bar. Because the principals did ask me, and then I've met with each. I do also meet with the faculty before I begin the breakfast program. So the only thing they did ask, please, Nancy, no syrup and no milk to be poured. So we use shelf stable, the little box milks. We use those in the breakfast program, and like we do pancakes, but they're flavored pancakes. Little Pillsbury bags, flavored pancakes. So they get that variety. That's
And the
one
kids
thing.
eat it in their classroom?
In their classroom. And we've had no, in fact, Molly said to me, she goes, I kind of forgot it's happening. So that was after about 3 days. So we're really not having any feedback from teachers that's negative. They've been great. South Road teachers, working with them, because this is Harrington's also terrific, but I've rolled out the South Row, so it's been great. Good.
When are you planning on the next one? Women's Center?
I could do that within a week or so. I have to
Okay.
send the letters to the parents, and
Yep.
I would hope to have one done before the holiday break.
Okay.
So, as I showed you, those are our daily choices. These are extra choices on top of what we sell for a hot meal. These are just, so we have 4 choices per day. The students at the elementary level have a little bit smaller salad. So that's what we're showing you on this slide. Let's continue with professional development. We're looking into bringing some more. We did do the Alice training with the rest of the staff in Chelmsford. They have having some knife skills classes and some exceptional customer service. We're trying to work on that a little bit. We are looking to have some visiting chefs come in, and they seem enthused about that when we have that come in. And again, I've attended the state conference, and we have another one coming up in January. So one of our big things that we've added this year was a school garden. And we have 2 of these 3 tiers at the high school. And I can't say enough about John Morris, who's helped me with his grant that helped me initiate the school garden. So we have students in the Echo Club that come in and they'll water. And tomorrow, actually, we're going to do our first harvest. And then we can harvest every 21 days. And then it's all organic soil and all. It grows like, one of them I was a little embarrassed the other day, was starting to like die a little bit on me, and I go, what's the matter? I went and I watered it, and I said to John, you know what, let's not harvest yet, let's just wait, see if it comes back. And I went into work this morning, and there it was, like all in bloom again. It's that organic soil. And those lights, so we just have to move the lights, like as it grows, we move the lights. I mean, it won't feed the schools, but at least we're starting to introduce it, and we are going to add it into their salads, and, you know, the staff salads and things, just to say this is from our garden. So hopefully, we just, like I said, have 2, and we're doing a lot of herbs, too, on that. So we'll have our own fresh basil and all. And I just want to say, and I was hoping she was here, a very special thank you to Hannah Barker, because she did these murals for us. Wow. She donated her time at the end of the summer. She was with me every day over there, and she stood right with me, and she donated the paint for us, and she's just really, people are walking in saying, wow, the kitchen staff did a couple of smaller murals, but then we reached out to ask someone that had, you know, that wanted to help us out, and Hannah came right to us, and she just keeps adding to the wall every time. She goes, Nancy, anything else, anything you want me to put on? So I just have to say yes, and she just adds more to the wall anytime we want it. It was really, it really adds a lot, because it was just a white plain wall, and in the center, the pillar in the center, like she did that for us. So, you know, I have.
She did that all freehand too.
Yes.
Yeah,
everything was freehand.
It was amazing.
Yes, and I mean, one day she looks at our lunches, and next thing you know, I see it on the wall. It's exactly like it looks. No picture, nothing. So, and I've had other directors come in, and they go, "Wow, who did that for you? What did you pay for that?" Nothing. So it's been great. She's really nice. So it's been thanks. So, any questions or where?
I think back a couple presentations ago, we had talked about maybe doing a food service frequently asked questions. I didn't know if that might help answer some of the, get some of the information out that parents may be looking for.
Mm-hmm. So this year, we put it on our own Facebook page. We started our own Facebook, which makes me a little nervous sometimes, but so we did on that, and on our webpage too, we also added like questions. We already did answer some questions, like why don't we put water on? And I'll be honest with you, I'm right on top of if there is anything put on Facebook, or if there's any questions, I call the parents personally and explain, because there was the water situation about why weren't we serving water in place of milk and everything. But we get right on that, and we answer those questions right away. But anything on Facebook, Kathy Pozzone will ask me, how do you want me to answer this? Because she kind of handles my Facebook page, and I thank her also for her help on that. But she won't answer unless she tells me first what she's going to say, or ask me what she's supposed to answer. So we do work on Facebook that way. Okay. Hopefully it'll always stay positive. We try.
John?
I just wanted to say that my daughter's I've talked about this a bunch of times, how excited my daughter gets about lunch. So she's the Byam, and every month when the schedule comes out, we have to print it out and we put it on the table, and she goes through and she circles all the stuff she's going to buy. Which is great, because then my wife can plan what days she can sleep an extra 10 minutes. She doesn't have to make lunch in the
And
morning.
so pretty soon for breakfast also.
know.
And also, I did not maybe put into this, and I should have. We are working with a nutritionist because here the nurses are very concerned about a lot of things. We've always supplied what we had to as far as labels and all that. Anybody has access to that. It's right on our page right away. You'll see nutritionals, and you can just click on that. But we went a little further with what we had to give to them. So we do have a nutritionist that helps me with the menus to make sure that we're right on target with everything. So everybody can feel safe and secure that we are staying right on target with that.
Al, Barbara, anything?
No?
No, it's great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the update.
Thank you.
It's been great.
Thank you.
And you and your team really deserve a lot of credit. You put a lot of time in
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
this year, so
We're
thank
having
you.
fun doing it. Thanks.
All right, so next item,
The food, too.
I know she left the food.
I didn't eat dinner. But
Yeah, I too, when she took it out, you were like, oh, that'd be good. Next item is, I just asked the superintendent to put on there as, just to discuss some potential public forums in the future. We had one already this fall on school safety. It was well-attended. I thought it went pretty well and very informative. So we talked about perhaps doing another one sometime January, February, somewhere on there. So just like to talk about what some possible topics could be, that people would like perhaps to think about, or.
What about the thought that Ms. Scar had about the changing of the school times? That would probably be something good to get parents' feedback on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we'll discuss just like bigger pictures, school scheduling in general, any kind of changes that might occur, whether it be later school time, start times, where vacations are, just to have the discussion,
Yeah.
not making decisions, but just to look at some options and see what people's opinions are on those options. And I don't know if there are other things that we could add to that.
Yeah, the other things I was thinking about was the alternative structured learning, the later start times for high school, online learning, and the one-to-one learning. Why are they online? So,
One-to-one in terms of,
the computer.
okay,
They
okay.
rolling up the-
Yeah,
I think it's a good opportunity. The other thing I was thinking about too is I would really like to emphasize that the public forum is for anybody. It doesn't necessarily have to be for people who have children in the school system.
True.
So I think that anybody that wants to come and learn more about some of the things that are happening or have questions about some of the things that we're doing here in the school system should feel welcome to attend these and, hear more about it and ask questions.
so I would assume that sounds like a good topic. I don't know how we want to structure that. That might be the next, what kind of presentation would we have in regard to that?
I'd like to invite Carlos. He has a group from the high school who's already trying to introduce, doing all the research for the pros and cons of the earlier start time.
That's a good idea.
He said that they should be ready maybe by the end of the month with some information for a presentation.
So how do you picture this being, like, different presentation on different, so a presentation on late start times, a presentation on,
Yeah, just do segments.
Yeah.
extended learning time, do like,
Yeah, small segments.
okay, so if we can maybe come up with just what segments we'd want to have and that typically what kind of presenters we would have in
Right,
regards
and
to
I
that.
think, so for example, with the one-to-one learning, I know we're going to be hearing a presentation later on this year,
In January.
in January, okay? So maybe after that, that would be
Right.
appropriate to talk about
That
it
might be a
then.
better one for like the third time around.
Okay, the third time.
I'm just thinking, if the recommendation comes in January, we start talking about implementation or whatnot, some of that is not gonna be ready
Okay.
by the end of January for public consumption, or even the February vacation. But if you wanted to do one more tailored to start times, things like that, that might be a better topic for
Okay.
then. And then maybe closer to like April school vacation week, or right after we come back sometime in May, might be a nice opportunity to do that one-on-one, because then it will kind of be out there, we'll be talking about it, and then people might actually have questions.
Okay.
So does anyone want to take the lead in terms of how structuring it and topics, and I don't know, Donna or Barbara or?
I'll take the segment on earlier start time. If you can think of, another segment you want to add to it, if you want to just have an open discussion on that.
Yeah, and I think the alternative structured learning,
So
It's
we can
certainly-
have a hard start and a hard stop on each topic, so people can choose to attend one or the other, or both.
Right, and I think that, I think it is important to emphasize that we're not we're not looking to make a decision. We're looking at presenting information so that we can receive feedback from people as we go forward.
Right, because all these things have pluses and minuses. you know,
Exactly.
you know, There's two sides of all these issues, so we definitely get other people's opinions on those things. Okay. So what are we thinking, February? January?
I would think either end of January or early February. Just don't get too close to February vacation,
Yeah.
because then that could be problematic.
Yeah.
But maybe like last week in January, first week in February, something like that.
So we have a meeting on the 22nd,
Want to make it the next week, the 29th? Or,
or sometime during that week.
You do, because it's 5 weeks in January, so you
Yeah.
could do something the week of the 28th.
Yeah, okay. So maybe we'll look, does people like the venue that we had with,
Yeah.
I like the venue.
Yeah.
Would want to do a different venue, or?
Totally up to you.
Yeah. I mean, that one worked out, was on school safety, so in the police department, but.
Yeah, it's nice and, I mean, it's nice and centrally located.
Yep.
It's easy
Acoustics
for
are good.
telemedia to tape if they're able to tape it.
Okay.
If you want, I can reach out to them and see what the availability for that room
Yeah.
is the week of the 28th.
Yep.
And email you guys back.
All right, and then over the course of the next kind of meetings, we'll just kind of finalize what we want to, how we want to present, and what kind of topics we want to have, and if there's other presenters that we want to have come in on these topics. Okay. Very good. All right, so, next is finally.
Yeah, we have a couple of issues that have just been kind of lingering for quite some time. So the fourth one is, this is the school committee's policy review. So as you recall, last spring, we actually went through with the Mike Gilbert from MASC, the MASC kind of model policies. We took a look at all the Chelmsford policies. We went section by section through them, and then previously kind of tentatively voted to adopt the various policies. And then I did talk to Andy, your attorney, and Felicia, one of his associates, went through some of the discrimination policies and just actually added, the only thing that was added is homelessness as a category that qualifies, that you wouldn't discriminate someone based on homelessness. So that has actually come up since the last time that we did the policy review. So in the discrimination language, she added homelessness. So these have now been kind of fully vetted. Andy proposed in red, I just put in your packet, what an actual motion would be to actually accept these as the school committee's policies. And then, as you recall, the second phase of the work would be to actually send this off to him. He would work with the company that actually would put them all on the website for us, so that there'll be a link off of our website to this database that's basically searchable by the public. They'll be able to search the policies, and that can take anywhere between like 30 and 45 days or so. So if we take the vote this evening and we get this off to him, I would think by the end of January, our policies would be up online and available, at which time we'll take down the current policies. We'll just archive those, and then we'll put this new link up to the new policies.
and these will be searchable.
On that database, the database is searchable, yeah. And not until it's up on the website, though. It's gonna be about a month and a half before that happens. But then, yes, you'll be able to search them.
I move that the Chelmsford School Committee accept the Massachusetts Association of School Committees' new policy manual as modified by the school committee between March 2018 and August 2018, and that the new policy manual supersede and replace the existing manual.
Any seconds?
I'll second it.
Okay, any questions, any discussion?
And these are all the policies exactly as were discussed and approved during our meetings. No changes have been made.
Just the
No, I
case
told you,
homelessness.
Felicia added
Yeah,
to the
just the-
discrimination
right.
policies, that, yes.
Okay, but other than that, no other changes.
It was all the other stuff that we talked about.
Okay.
So I would assume we don't need to read through them all, and everybody's good with them?
No, we already did.
Thank goodness. All right, any other questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so these are our new policies.
Good, so I'll send this off to Mike Gilbert, and I know he's retiring still around the holidays, so he'll be able to kind of cross this off his list once we get this off to him.
Dorothy Presser will be his replacement.
Oh, is she going to?
Oh, really?
Oh, I didn't know that. Good. Fifth item on the agenda this evening, we did get back we had shared with you previously the draft audit of the Chelmsford High School student activity account, and we received back the final audit. So before you this evening, you have the final audit of the account to review and accept. Joanna can walk you through or answer any questions you may have on it. If you recall, several of the different findings and recommendations within the audit related to school committee policies that we didn't have in place. So in the policy manual, when we went through the review, we do have a whole section now on student activity accounts that cover all the different recommendations that they had. You know, if you recall, one of them was, you know, what do you do with a student activity club that's no longer in service? So you have like a graduating class that graduates, how long do you keep their money for? Things along those lines. We didn't have a structured policy to tell you how long to do that, and we basically have just kept the money on account for as long as we need to, or as long as it's been requested. So you do have that in front of you this evening. I think this is a good step. We're gonna, again, go on a cycle where one year we're gonna audit the high school account, the next year we're gonna audit the middle school accounts, and we'll bring those forward to you. So if I can answer any questions, or if Joanna can, we're certainly here to try to help.
I just have one question. So I think it was on September 18th, we took a look at our draft proposal of the policy. I think that was when it was, and we, remember we had the different colored type, and you had crossed out what you had replaced the existing policies with based on these recommendations. You remember that? Okay. So what I needed to know is if we need to go back and approve that document, because it was only a draft at that particular point.
This is the procedure manual.
Right, so this is, yeah.
Oh, that's not the policy manual.
No, I'm sorry, did I say, yeah, the procedural.
The
thing.
procedural
Yes,
manual.
the
So,
procedural.
yes, after you take action on this, we'll,
They, at that meeting, they did vote to accept that as a report of progress.
Okay.
With, like, any other procedural manual we present to the committee, so I think I'm set.
okay. So there's two things. The school committee definitely approves the policies, which is
Yes.
what you just did.
I apologize.
Then, no, that's
Procedural,
okay.
yes.
In the, and that was kind of a melding of two policies, because
Right.
we had Chelmsford policies, then we wanted to take in the MASC policies. That's all contained in the previous vote you just took. Here, the procedural manual, you know, technically, you're acknowledging that we have one, but you don't technically approve the procedure manual.
Okay.
It's only the policy. What we can do is go in now to the procedural manual and like accept all of those color-coded changes, and we'll certainly just give you a copy.
Great.
I can email that out to you, just so you actually have that.
Okay,
But the vote you took back that time was sufficient for the, for this purpose.
okay, great, thank you.
Now, were there any changes in this from the initial?
Just page 11, I had asked the auditor, that was the full change between the draft and the final, is on the draft, they had noted that we did not provide one of the reconciliations, and we had provided it shortly after their site visit, so I asked that they update the audit to say that, and they did. So the comment on page 11 has been changed to say that they did receive it, and that they recommend we keep up with it quarterly.
Other than that, it's pretty much the same report that we
It's exactly
we saw
the
in
same.
September.
Yep.
Other questions, anybody?
And then I just wanted to point out, Barbara had asked for historical audits, and it's on our website.
Excellent, thank you so much.
We had, well, this one, and then we had, the one from 2013 was
Yep.
already on the
Okay.
website. And then the only other one they found was from 2009, which was
Okay.
actually June 30th of 2008.
Okay,
So if you look on the list of audits, you'll see it there.
thank you so much.
So when, the next one is the middle school?
So like this year, coming after the first of the year,
Yeah.
we'll audit the middle schools.
Okay, both of them?
Yep,
Okay.
at the same time. And then the next year, we'll do high school again.
Okay.
So every year, we'll do one. And it will rotate. The recommendations that you do an audit once every 3 years, we're just gonna do one every 2 and just cover ourselves and stay in a cycle so that we have the audit firm out once a year for an audit. We're just gonna flip-flop which one gets audited.
I think this was a very comprehensive audit for what it was that we were looking for.
Yeah, they do a good job.
They did a really nice job. And I think that it really clarified a lot of things for us, both in terms of the policies that we adopted and the procedures that we're now going to use to keep better track of these funds.
Do we
So
need
this
to
would
take
just
a
be a
vote?
vote to accept the Chelmsford High School student activity audit for the period ending December 31st, 2017.
I move that we accept the Chelmsford High School activity account audit report, December 31st, 2017.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? 5-0.
Great, thank you. And as Joanna indicated, these are already up on the website, so the public can view them if they'd like. Next report is just a quick report for you. Previously this fall, we'd reported that we were down to just one item on the Massachusetts Department of Ed Coordinated Program Review that they had done last year with us. And they did accept our response to the last recommendation. So you, just for your own purposes, just so you'd have this, I sent a, they sent me back an email just acknowledging that the review has been completed at this point in time, and that basically it's closed. Linda has gone in graciously and updated the tracking spreadsheet that we use to track all of the different recommendations and our responses, just so that you have a complete document in front of you. There's no real action required of the committee this evening. I would just make a motion to just accept the report as a report of progress, because the review is complete. That's the good news. The bad news is that the DOE has now, because you usually only had to do this like once every 5 years. In the time of us getting this done, the DOE has decided to change their rules or their policies. So they're now gonna actually, instead of waiting 5 years and doing the whole thing, they're gonna do segments every couple of years. So now we get selected for, although we just finished, we're gonna start up again, on special education and I think civil rights. So on a positive note, we've just been through this, and most of our recommendations and findings are gonna stay the same. But it's somewhat of a nuisance to have to start up all over again. So we'll be going to our training this spring, and then doing our data compilation this spring, and they'll come out again next fall to look again at special ed and civil rights. Instead of waiting the full cycle, they're gonna do it piecemeal. So, I would just do it as a report of progress, just to accept the report.
I move that we accept progress report on the DESE Coordinated Program Review.
Second.
Any questions? What was the one area that we had to?
That we were waiting for?
Yeah, we're waiting
It was
for.
an ELL. So what I did on that sheet, and I don't know how it projects, I bolded it, so I know you don't have the colors, maybe if it was printed out.
It was the
But if you
last
look, it
page,
should
the
have
top
a
one.
difference.
It was bold.
Right, great.
And I
Anybody?
just wanted to make sure that the training was done, and the teachers were all set with it.
Right, any other questions? All right, all in favor of accepting the report?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? 5-0.
Next, before you again this evening, next item on the agenda is just the personnel report for the month of October. Again, this is just a report that we give you that provides you a list of all the new hires, any resignations. We didn't have any retirements or assignment changes, people who have moved within the district, to just again give you a sense of the comings and goings of different staff in the schools. Happy to answer any questions, no specific vote necessary. I would just recommend you take a vote to approve it as a report of progress, or acknowledge the report.
Any questions?
I move that we approve the personnel report for October 2018.
Second.
Discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
And last for me, the conference, there weren't any, but we thought the field trip was gonna come through and it didn't. So I have no action for you on conferences and field trips. We'll probably have one at the next meeting.
All right, any liaison reports?
I have a few. So I attended the Harrington PTO.
Thank you.
No problem. Great group of parents. They are doing very well with their fundraising this year, which was really nice to see. They have a terrific event that I would really encourage people to attend in January. It's called Heritage Day. And it was really the first time that I'd heard about it in great detail, but it sounds like a terrific event, not only for the students, but for members of the community as
Yeah.
well. Principal Aslan has come in and, taken a fresh look at things and has changed a couple of things in the hopes of making things run a little bit smoother, and in particular, I believe it was the pickup process. So that's something that they're continuing to work on. And they're really terrific about posting their fundraising coupons for restaurants on the various Facebook pages, and I would encourage people to use them. It's a great opportunity to feel good about not wanting to have to cook, and go out and support a great PTO. In CPAC, a survey went out to parents recently, and it was a survey that they spent quite a bit of time developing, and it's to get some feedback from parents on things that they think that are going well, things that they think that we need to improve upon, and areas that they would like more information about. The Chelmsford Friends of Music is beginning their online auction on tomorrow, and they are going till December 11th. And I don't know if you had put out a flyer for that or not. I'll send
I
you a
will
copy
check.
of that.
Okay.
Okay. So it's an online auction. Typically, in the past, I think that they've done.
I remember
a
seeing it,
silent
I just
auction.
don't remember if I saw it on Facebook or if I saw it on the Connect Ed,
All
but
right,
we can
and
look.
so that starts tomorrow. And the Wellness Committee will be meeting on December 10th. And at that meeting, we're going to continue discussing after-school enrichment programs. And right now, that particular committee is working on two different parts. One is collecting research from other districts, and the other is developing a survey for parents. That's it.
Hey, anybody else? I just wanted to mention that several of us and the superintendent went down to the MASC convention down in Hyannis. It was nice to go down and meet other school committee members and superintendents and hear some of the things that are going on and attend some different workshops in different areas. So it's always kind of nice to hear what else is going on out there outside of Chelmsford. So I thought it was a good experience. So. All right, any new items that people would like brought up? Something that Don and I had a conversation about is one of our goals, professional goals as a school committee, was to try to come up with some sort of orientation program for new members, whether it be a mentorship type thing, a handbook. So I would like to maybe start that process at our next meeting, so people can kind of think about what they think would be helpful to somebody that's coming on for the first time, and what kind of information, think about when you started, what kind of information would have been nice to have, and what kind of assistance can we give to people when they first come in the committee. So I'd like to have that conversation at least starting out next meeting. So any kind of feedback, any kind of ideas, if you want to, I've been going on and looking at other school committees and what kind of programs they have, and there are some that have handbooks and some that just have, a few items that they give to people when they come on. So, kind of decide what we'd like to do as far as that's concerned. Anything else?
I think we had also talked about putting our goals on here periodically. Maybe not necessarily all of them, but a couple of them here and there, so that we can review how it is that we're doing periodically throughout the course of the year.
And we've been, superintendent has been updating the
Yep.
list and kind of
Sorry.
checking things
Yes.
off as we're going through. But yeah, it's always good to kind of go back and see where we're at as far as that's concerned. But,
Our goals, not our
Yep.
checklist.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, well, our goals are on that checklist.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Any other things?
Yeah, I just want to mention that Evelyn Thorne, our longtime school committee member, had surgery a couple weeks ago, and just keep her in your thoughts. She's recuperating, but she's frustrated.
Okay. If there are no other things, oh, sorry. Yeah.
Today, we had Students of the Month, and at the conclusion of that, Dean Blagg and Principal Murray introduced a new direction that they're working on, and that is to have internships in the senior year. It's a huge undertaking, and as it develops, I'm sure it's in early stages, but I think it would be important for us to have input about directions they're headed in as it starts to take shape, because it has huge implications. Not that I'm not being negative about that, it's just that it has a lot.
Yeah, I remember they talked about it a few years ago. My concern is the overlap with Neshoba Tech.
And just a point of clarification, they did start to talk about this, and one of their first steps was to go on a field trip to, Westford was one of them,
Right,
because they
yeah.
already have that. It's nice to learn from other people's, you know, journeys through some of these things. And this is not something like that's an immediate implementation. They're very much aware that, obviously, there would become approval, and there's some nuances with it of who's doing what, how it's getting done. So it's kind of like a slow process to see if this is something that could be incorporated into Chelmsford High School. So I don't want people to feel as though this is what's going to happen, you'll see it next week, and we're going to do it.
Yeah, I think it was appropriate for them to bring up, because Rotary is one of the places where they can lay groundwork for getting people to cooperate, you know, in terms of internships. And they need to, you know, so starting on planting that seed, I think is totally appropriate.
They're still working on their internships for some students in the high school now, to help engage them in school, something that it may not be college-ready, but they want to be career-ready, so there's a lot of little things going on that way, but it's always best to see what the other schools are doing. I know Lexington has a big program, so just to find out what they're doing, how they're doing it, and what works and what doesn't work. But what's nice, too, is that they're reaching out to these other high schools to make connections just in general, right, to collaborate and find out what's happening outside of Chelmsford High School.
Another thing that came up, it just remembered it, is PAVE program, is that the right name?
Yes.
Have we had a presentation on that?
Well, it's a special ed program.
Yeah, it kind of falls under the umbrella of special ed. I can,
I don't think we need it you know, it's just one of
Right.
those things that I understood from the general presentation what it was, but
Right.
it's one of those things I haven't heard much about.
I can ask either Steve when they report out high school activities, or special ed when Amy reports out, to talk about some of the different programs, and we can make sure that they include comments about that.
All right, anything else?
I just thought of an idea that maybe we can add to our public input. Transportation, how the routes are put together, how parents can have their voices heard on their frustrations and such. Just, you know, we've never really met the transportation director. Maybe we could
I
have
think
him.
at some point he's gonna come in and do a presentation.
Okay.
shortly, so. Okay,
Thank you.
great. If we're good, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we adjourn to enjoy the next few days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. Hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving.